but we've got about 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So we're back in the gym again, putting in that work. The usual routine. There's nothing new except for this new merchandise, you know? Feel good, feel relaxed. I chose some more khaki green today because it represents war, you know me. So let's get it in.
MVP presents Jake versus Joshua, Judgment Day, December 19th, live from Miami at the Chisora Center. 8 3-minute rounds in a professionally heavyweight sanctioned bout.
He's a big guy. He's had a few knockouts. He stops opponents. He hits them hard. He punishes them. He's cool, calm, and collective. So I want to go in there, turn it into an aggressive, uncomfortable, unpredictable type of fight. I've got to take him to waters that he's never been before. And that's how I might rattle Charles Martin.
One more. One more. Beautiful. Good. That's what we've got to bring him on to. Nobody can take them. Who can take them? Nobody.
It's my first day back to training. My body definitely needed a break after 4 fights in 1 year. But now it's time to start getting back into the swing of things, except something tells me that today isn't going to be that at all. I feel like I'm going to be thrown into the deep end today.
All right, so what's in here on his shoulder, right? And then all the punches for shoulder are going to be short. Da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum. Just change the angles. Box.
I finally feel like after 4 years, I'm getting my moment, the opportunity to show the world and inspire millions and millions and shut everyone the fuck up.
His strengths, I would say, is the ability to come forward and absorb punishment and avoid punishment as well, because a come forward fighter seems to walk into punishment, but he doesn't take too much stick. He can knock guys out, so that means he's heavy-handed. When I listen to what he says in his interviews, he's looking for the biggest upset into.
If people who know boxing know that the power's the last thing to go, so I have to be prepared for strongest uppercut boxing has ever seen. And I'm gonna have to weather the storm. I'll box him.
Off this. The right hand go.
I think he's gonna get clipped because he has a lot of openings for me to land some big shots.
There you go, man. Put your legs. And then,
Every time it gets tough, and when I feel like I don't want to do it, there is someone out there in this world laying on a hospital bed, begging for a second chance at life. I'm sitting there healthy, with good friends, heating, light, running tap water. I don't think I have any excuse to not go hard or live life with a smile on my face.
Not gonna lie, I'm a little scared.
Yeah, it was a bit surprising. You know what I mean? It's a tall task coming from, you know what I mean, literally moving from Gervonta Davis to Anthony Joshua. So man, this was gonna be a tough fight. You know, honestly, it's probably the hardest fight he could have took. You know what I mean? And I like Jake Paul and everything, but you know, Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua. You know, it's a dangerous fighter. You know what I mean? You've seen exactly what he did to Ngannou. You know what I mean? So it could probably be a repeat of the same, but you know, nonetheless, you know, big respect for Jake Paul for taking the fight. You know, it's gonna be a big event, and it's gonna be good, man. I'm looking forward to it, actually.
With the hype around Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua heating up, boxing pros are weighing in on how huge and risky this matchup really is. David Benavidez says Jake deserves respect for taking the challenge, even though most believe AJ's size and power make this a tough night for him. And then Derek Chisora jumped in with his own wild reaction, adding even more fire to the buildup. He stated, "Listen, I'm buzzing, and we can lay that Dacha Jake Paul nonsense to rest. So if the fight happens, somebody better go to jail." Chisora's words instantly raised the stakes, turning the hype into something raw and unpredictable. His reaction carried that classic heavyweight intensity, making it clear he expects absolute chaos if the fight goes ahead. The way he spoke added a dangerous thrill, like he believes this clash could explode into something way bigger than just another main event. Hearing a veteran talk with that kind of excitement gives the whole matchup a darker, more explosive edge. It leaves fans wondering just how wild this December showdown could really get, and whether the ring can even contain the energy building around it. Chisora pushed things even further, making it clear he wasn't talking about hype anymore. He hinted that the matchup is so one-sided in his eyes that the outcome could be genuinely dangerous. He stated, "'Cause then you're going to kill him. I mean, like, it's unfair. Someone has to go to jail." His words hit like a warning siren, making it obvious he believes AJ's power is on a completely different level from anything Jake has felt before. The way he said it wasn't playful. It sounded like he genuinely fears the damage AJ could do if this fight goes ahead. That kind of statement from someone as experienced as Chisora adds a new level of tension to the build-up, as if the danger is bigger than the hype. Fans could feel the shift, realizing this isn't just another celebrity crossover moment, but a potential mismatch with real consequences. It left everyone wondering whether Jake fully understands the force he's stepping in with. Derek Chisora further continued to break down how Jake might approach the fight, focusing on what AJ needs to handle on the night. His tone made it clear he sees the matchup as exciting but brutally honest when it comes to the levels involved.
Right now, Jake Paul be watching the last fight AJ had, and he's gonna jump on him. It's all about AJ dealing with the men in front of him, but whatever happens will be exciting. Nah, he hasn't got the power.
Chisora's words painted the picture of a dangerous gap in power and experience, the kind that could decide the fight long before the final bell. He sounded almost certain that the physical difference will be too much for Jake to overcome once the punches start landing. His take added a heavy sense of realism to the hype, reminding everyone that AJ isn't just another opponent. He's a full-sized elite heavyweight. The way he broke it down made fans rethink the momentum Jake has built so far. Instead of pure excitement, people felt a growing tension, wondering how Jake can survive that kind of force. Chisora didn't sugarcoat his final prediction either. He delivered it straight, with no hesitation. His reaction made the entire room feel the weight of what he thinks is coming on fight night. He stated, "Jake Paul is going in an ambulance." That statement alone flipped the mood from entertaining hype to something far more intense and dangerous. The confidence in his voice suggested he sees the fight ending in brutal fashion, not a close contest. It created a moment where fans had to stop and imagine just how violent things could get if AJ lands clean. Chisora's blunt warning added a layer of fear and thrill, feeding into the idea that this showdown could spiral into something unforgettable instead of playful predictions. This felt like a veteran sounding the alarm before the storm hits. And with that, the anticipation climbed even higher, turning the December clash into a must-watch event filled with uncertainty, danger, and massive suspense. Michael Bisping opened his thoughts with pure shock, acting like the whole matchup felt unreal even by today's boxing standards. He broke it down in a way that mixed humor with harsh truth, setting the tone for how risky and strange this fight really is.
I can't believe that this is actually happening, but it is, okay? Now, it's a win-win for Jake Paul, and it's a lose-lose for Anthony Joshua. However, given all of that, both men are going to make $92 million each. So forget my opinion. Who gives a damn when you can bank $92 million for having a little move around in a boxing ring? Fair play.
His reaction instantly changed the energy, making it clear that the stakes weren't just physical, they were financial, reputational, and historic. The way he framed the situation turned the matchup into something bigger than just two men stepping into a ring. He highlighted the strange dynamic where one fighter gets nothing but criticism and the other gets nothing but momentum, no matter the outcome. It added a twist that made fans reconsider what winning even means in a fight like this. You could feel the tension rising as he spoke, pointing out how the spotlight and pressure fall unevenly on both men. Bisping then dug deeper into why he thinks the matchup benefits only one side, breaking down the stakes with blunt clarity. He explained the situation like someone who's seen every angle of the fight game and wasn't afraid to say exactly what he thought.
Well, no, we'll start with Jake Paul first. The reason I say it's a win-win for Jake Paul is because, listen, if he wins, then he's beating a former heavyweight boxing world champion, certainly one of the best heavyweights of his generation, and of course, a man that is way bigger than Jake Paul. Of course, it's a win. And if he loses, it's still a win for Jake Paul because he had the balls. He was man enough. He was willing to test himself. He would prove everyone wrong, all his critics, like me. By the way, I'm not like out there on an island by myself. Everyone says the same thing, and he would potentially prove all of those critics wrong. Well, yeah, he would. Maybe, unless there's some funny business, right? And for Anthony Joshua, as I said, this is kind of a lose-lose, right? Because if he wins, people are still going to say, well, you only beat Jake Paul, right? The man that lost to Tommy Fury, after all, right? That's the only loss in his record, Tommy Fury. You're telling me that Tommy Fury is going to beat him, and then Anthony Joshua's not going to beat him? So if he beats him, he gets no credit. And if he loses, then holy sh**. Can you imagine? That would be the biggest downfall of any boxer's career.
His breakdown created a strong contrast between the two fighters' positions, almost making the fight feel lopsided before a punch is even thrown. He painted Jake as the fearless challenger with nothing to lose, and AJ as the man carrying the weight of expectation. Every point he made added more pressure onto AJ's shoulders, highlighting how a victory gets dismissed, but a defeat would be catastrophic. It created a sense of unease, as if the consequences outside the ring are more dangerous than anything inside it. The way he told it made fans question how much risk AJ is really taking on. After laying out all the angles, Bisping shifted gears and made his actual prediction with complete conviction. His tone sharpened, sounding like a man who believed there was only one possible outcome when the bell rings.
The reality is, he's not going to lose. There is no way on this earth that Jake Paul can beat Anthony Joshua in a boxing match. That's just a fact, okay? Look at what he did to Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou hits as hard as a Ford Escort, going 100 miles an hour or whatever that stat was. Comes from the UFC. He was the UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Has a good go against Tyson Fury, but goes up against Anthony Joshua and gets flatlined. Every single punch that was thrown was landed, and every punch that landed put Francis Ngannou down.
His confidence added a heavier, almost intimidating vibe to the discussion, as though the gap in skill and power was too obvious to ignore. He reminded everyone of AJ's demolition of one of the scariest punchers in combat sports, painting the picture of a man built for destruction. Each comparison he made widened the distance between the two fighters, turning the matchup into something that sounded like a collision between two different worlds. Bisping wasn't finished. He went on to break down the technical side, making the matchup sound even more uneven. His voice carried that veteran certainty, the kind that comes from analyzing fighters for years.
So to stand there and think that Jake Paul, who's much, much smaller, who has way less experience, that doesn't weigh anything near him, is going to have a chance, and not to mention the technical abilities. Let's just talk about that. Not to mention the technical abilities or experience. We're talking about an Olympic gold medalist, remember, from back in the day, who's then gone on to become a true British boxing icon, or a worldwide boxing icon, let's be honest, right? There's no way that he loses to Jake Paul.
This part of his breakdown made the size, skill, and experience gap feel impossible to overlook. He painted AJ as a polished athlete who spent his whole life refining his craft, not just learning how to box, but living it. The way he compared their backgrounds highlighted the difference between someone born into competition and someone who stepped into it late. Every detail he mentioned added more weight to AJ's side, making the idea of an upset sound almost unreal. Fans listening could sense that this wasn't just another challenge. It was a mountain Jake had never faced. Finally, Bisping touched on the sheer physical differences, breaking it down in a way that made the size gap sound dangerous. His description added a new layer of concern, almost like he was warning viewers about what could happen inside the rope.
But I will say that Anthony Joshua, that walks around 265, 270 pounds, he's going to have 50 pounds give or take on Jake Paul. I haven't gone away and looked up Jake Paul. If he's fighting Anthony Joshua, he's probably going to come in at about 220 pounds. Maybe he bulks up, maybe gets on a real good strength and conditioning routine and takes in loads of protein and gets the best nutritionist on planet Earth and goes up to 225. Right? Maybe he does. Maybe he becomes a proper fat bastard and just gets on the beers and the pies, right? And comes in at 230. Regardless, it's not going to be an athletic 230, and it's still going to be roughly, give or take, a 40-pound weight difference, 30 pounds, 35 pounds, whatever it is. It's a big weight disadvantage.
The way he explained the weight difference made the matchup feel even more extreme, as though Jake is stepping into the ring with a man built for another weight class entirely. He emphasized how even the best preparation wouldn't erase the natural size advantage AJ has carried his whole career. His words made the physical imbalance seem like a crucial factor that could shape every second of the fight. It gave the impression that Jake would be facing not just a boxer, but a force of nature. The more he described it, the more the danger felt real, blending suspense with the thrill of an unpredictable showdown. And then Barry Hearn, with all his years in the business, stepped in to explain the bigger picture behind why a fight like this gets made. His tone wasn't emotional or shocked. It was the voice of someone who has seen every angle of the sport and knows how the game really works.
Money, 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 money. Don't be silly. You know, I mean, you're mostly sensible, aren't you?
Mostly.
Mostly. Of course, we're all purists at heart. But purism doesn't necessarily pay the bills, and boxing is a money business. And the day we don't accept that and then move on, we won't understand why certain things happen.
His words shifted the whole conversation from hype and danger to the cold reality of what drives boxing at the highest level. It reminded everyone that behind every headline and every wild matchup, there's a machine built on numbers, risks, and rewards. The way he spoke made the matchup feel less like a surprise and more like an inevitable move in a sport ruled by business decisions. His perspective added a mature, almost calculating layer to the buildup, making fans realize how much money shapes what ends up happening in the ring. It turned the fight into something bigger than pride or legacy, something powered by massive financial gravity. Tony Bellew stepped in with the kind of cautious realism that only comes from years inside the sport. He didn't jump on the hype train. Instead, he made it clear he doesn't trust anything until the bell actually rings.
I don't believe a single thing until literally I see them in a ring together. He was supposed to fight Gervonta Davis, wasn't he? He was 5 stone lighter and is it 5 stone lighter and 8 inches shorter. So I don't believe anything. Until they're in a ring together, I don't believe nothing.
His words brought a sudden pause to the excitement, reminding everyone how unpredictable boxing matchmaking can be. He hinted at how quickly plans change behind the scenes, especially when fighters move between massive weight differences. The way he spoke made the whole situation feel unstable, like the fight could fall apart at any moment. His tone added a layer of tension that made fans question whether they should even get their hopes up yet. Bellew then shifted the conversation from doubt to the harsh reality of a fighter's career path. He spoke with the honesty of someone who has lived through every stage of the sport, the glory, the pain, and the business behind it.
Fortune from
Listen, I've said before and I'll say it again. Boxing is a brutal, brutal business. Go and make as much as you can, as quick as you can. Once you've achieved your dream and goals of becoming a world champion, there's nothing left to do besides make money. What are you chasing? You've won all the belts. You know, I think he's missing a WBC. I think that's about it. Go and get the belts and that's it.
His perspective brought a gritty truth to the situation, highlighting how fighters eventually reach a point where legacy gives way to financial survival. He made the journey sound like a climb, where once the summit is reached, the only reward left is securing life after boxing. His words gave a sense of urgency, as if there's a limited window to cash in before the sport takes too much. It added depth to AJ's decision, making it feel less like a spectacle and more like a strategic move. Bellew's honesty wrapped the moment in a tension that blended ambition, danger, and the brutal economics of the fight game. Paulie Malignaggi stepped in with a very grounded take, focusing less on the spectacle and more on AJ's mindset behind the scenes. He spoke like someone who knows how top-level fighters operate, especially the ones who treat boxing like their entire identity.
Yeah, of course. I mean, AJ doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that would make side deals anyway, even if it was an exhibition. He's a very serious guy. I've worked several of his fights, been in meetings with him, with networks, and he always comes off as a very serious guy who takes this who doesn't joke around when it comes about his fight business, you know? So I can't see him going easy on anybody, no matter what the circumstances are. Personally, me, I can't. I know, you know, with an exhibition, you technically can go easy and then it wouldn't be illegal. With a sanctioned fight, it's different. As I reiterate that I've always believed Jake's sanctioned fights are not staged like many people think they were.
His words made AJ sound like a man who switches into a different mode once boxing becomes the subject, the kind of fighter who views every opponent the same. As someone he must break down, Paulie's experience around him added weight to the idea that AJ doesn't do half speed, even in situations where most fighters might relax. He hinted that this intensity could make the matchup far more dangerous for Jake than people realize. The way he described AJ's seriousness gave the fight a darker edge, like this won't be treated as entertainment once the gloves go on. Paulie then doubled down, shifting from AJ's personality to the reality of what happens once the bell rings. He spoke with firm conviction, as if he had seen enough firsthand to know exactly what mindset AJ brings into any ring.
If this is a sanctioned fight, bro, this is crazy. I mean, to tell you the truth, I don't even know if AJ will go easy even if it's an exhibition, to tell you the truth. Because again, I've been around, in my experience being around AJ, he's a very serious guy. And I think he's just a guy who comes to hurt you when it comes to that being that person, you know, like he there's the side of AJ that is cool when you're in the room with him and talking to him, but when he's about his fight business, he's about his fight business, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so whether it's an exhibition or whether it's a fight, I can't see AJ going easy on anybody. I can't. I personally cannot see it at all.
His explanation made AJ sound like a switchblade. Calm until the moment the fight becomes real, then sharp and dangerous. With no hesitation, Paulie described that transformation in a way that made the matchup feel even more intimidating for Jake, painting AJ as someone who doesn't adjust his intensity based on the opponent's level. The unpredictability of whether this ends up being an exhibition or a sanctioned match only added more tension to the situation. His perspective suggested that no matter the label, AJ's approach won't change, and that alone could decide the fight's outcome. Robert Garcia added his perspective with the calm confidence of a trainer who's worked with world-class fighters for decades. He didn't hold back on how dangerous the matchup could be simply because of AJ's natural size and power.
It's almost impossible for somebody like Anthony Joshua, who is so big and so strong, to even think he's going to take it easy, because even if he tries to take it easy, he's so powerful, so strong, that even those punches that are being easy are still going to hurt. Look, I don't see this happening, and if it does, I'll be really surprised.
His view made the situation sound even more one-sided, as if AJ's physical strength alone could make any attempt to go light nearly impossible. Garcia's words painted a picture of a fighter whose natural power is so overwhelming that even controlled shots would feel heavy. He hinted that if this actually goes ahead, it won't play out like a friendly showcase, but something far more serious. That sense of unpredictability added a tense edge to the entire matchup, making fans imagine how quickly things could get dangerous. By the time he finished, the fight felt less like a celebrity event and more like stepping into the path of a heavyweight machine. Garcia continued with even stronger conviction, focusing on the mindset and pride that come with being a top-level heavyweight. He spoke like someone who knows the mentality of champions and understands how unlikely it is for them to hold back.
There's no chance at all that Anthony Joshua is going to work and try to make Jake Paul look good, because you know, it's just unbelievable, you know, to even think that somebody as big, as strong as Anthony Joshua, you know, is going to work with Paul.
His take made it clear that AJ isn't the kind of fighter who tones things down just to make an opponent look good. Garcia's tone suggested that once a man with AJ's pedigree is in the ring, instinct takes over, and that instinct is built on dominance, not cooperation. The idea of a giant heavyweight trying to move gently with a much smaller fighter sounded unrealistic to him. His confidence added a layer of danger to the storyline, making the fight seem like an unpredictable storm waiting to break. Adam Catterall jumped in with a viewpoint that blended business sense with pure fighter logic. He broke it down like someone who understands exactly why both men would say yes the moment the offer lands on the table.
Makes sense. From any fighter's point of view, it makes sense, because you're in... Listen, belts don't pay your mortgage, do they? And I know he's got a lot of dough anyway, but 70 million... If someone's going to throw you 70 million quid to fight a lad that struggled and lost to Tommy Fury, you're going to take it, aren't you?
Yep.
So from AJ's point of view, yep, I completely get that. From Jake Paul's point of view, you're leveraging your audience in the world of boxing and making a ton of cash fighting the former two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. Mate, most boxing fans would bite your hand off at that opportunity, especially if you're throwing 70 million quid in the pot as well.
His perspective made the matchup sound almost inevitable once the money side was explained, as if both fighters were simply capitalizing on an opportunity too big to refuse. He highlighted how the financial scale instantly changes the conversation from risk to reward. It added a bit of excitement mixed with realism, showing how modern boxing often revolves around audience size and star power. The way he framed it also made fans understand how each man benefits in his own way, turning the event into a major win regardless of the outcome. Catterall then shifted from business to safety, bringing forward the serious side that sits beneath all the hype.
I've no problem with the promoters. My problem is that it can't be a legitimate fight. Let's be dead honest about this, right?
Eddie Hearn said it will be.
Listen, there is no commission on the planet that can authorise that fight. It's a two-time unified heavyweight world champion, still in his athletic prime. You just said he's 36. We're not talking Mike Tyson age of 50-odd here now, are we? Olympic gold medalist. He's had 13 world title fights as AJ. 13 of them. Against the very best guys.
And could take his head off. Like he done to Ngannou.
It is dangerous.
Yeah.
It is absolutely dangerous. Like I've just said, Jake Paul struggled with Tommy Fury. The levels between these two guys are ridiculous. The commissions cannot sanction that as a legitimate fight. There has to be a rule change. It has to be an exhibition. And then you can have a little bit of a move.
Hold on, Gab.
His words added a heavy dose of reality, reminding everyone just how massive the skill and experience gap truly is between a seasoned heavyweight champion and a newcomer. He made the matchup sound less like a sporting contest and more like a scenario that raises real concerns about danger and regulation. The way he described the levels between them created a sense of unease, as if the sport itself would struggle to justify such a fight under normal rules. His take built tension by questioning how the bout could even be approved, hinting that only an exhibition could make it remotely safe by the end. Could Jake Paul really survive the power of a prime heavyweight? Is AJ taking a huge risk with his reputation if anything goes wrong? Will this be a sanctioned fight or an exhibition wrapped in a storm of controversy? And if they actually stand across from each other, who walks out and who gets walked down? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think this fight should happen? Who wins? How does it end? And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and tune in for more breakdowns, reactions, and boxing stories just like this.